there.
Hi, everybody. We are live, finally, after some technical difficulties, the Women of First Draught and special guests. We're talking about music as the muse today for writers. And we are going to launch into introductions really quickly since we are running late. So I'm going to start off with Alexis Anne, who's got some very cool shades on right now.
Hi, I'm Alexis Anne. I write erotic and contemporary romance and apparently action-adventure coming to you soon. And I'm a rock star apparently as well.
Lashell, you want to take it next?
I'm Lashell Collins, and I write, what do I write? I write romantic suspense and contemporary romance.
Fantastic. Mary Chris.
Hi, I am Mary Chris Escobar. I write women's fiction. Yeah, I'm enjoying a nice hoppy beer.
Oh. Very nice. And Tracie, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Tracie Puckett, and I write contemporary young adult, new adult fiction. That's all.
Wonderful. I am Julia Kelly, and I write contemporary and historical romance. I'm drinking scotch today because it's April Fool's Day, and that seems good enough reason. And we're talking about music, as I mentioned before, and whether you write with it, whether you don't, what you kind of draw inspiration from. So I'm going to kick it off. I'm going to toss it over to Tracie asking, blanket question, do you actually write with music, or are you a silent writer?
Oh, I am a silent writer. I can't even write if the washer and dryer are going. No music on while I'm writing.
How about you, Mary Chris?
Totally silent.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I try to write, even when my husband's not home. Yeah.
Come here.
And Lashell, how about you? What's your verdict?
I go both ways.
Very scandalous. Is there
I am such a child.
Are there reasons that you write with music sometimes and write kind of quiet other times?
Yeah, the reasons I write with music, sometimes I find it's easier to get inside my character's head if I'm listening to their music, so to speak, the type of music that they would listen to.
Nice. And Alexis Anne. Oh, I'm getting nothing from you, honey. I think you're muted.
Yep, she's muted.
Yep. More technical
And she's
difficulties.
back. Okay, go for it.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I was trying to yell at my husband, who is my cameraman. He's standing here. You can't see him. Because I had to fix the camera on myself originally. I fixed that now. It should be switching. And then I muted, and now I'm unmuted. So I think we may have ended all of the technical difficulties.
We're going to keep our fingers crossed like this.
One thing, I'm wearing my music shirt today. It's from Mumford & Sons. Woohoo!
So does that mean you actually write with music, or you have to write in silence? Because I've been surprised by some of the answers, considering that we're talking about music and writing today.
It depends. When I am writing romance, I actually really like to listen to music that's very thematic for whatever scene that I'm in, especially if it doesn't have too many words going on. But when I'm writing anything that isn't super romantic, silence. It has to be silence. I like to get in my head, but I listen to a lot of music right before I start writing to kind of put me in the scene.
Okay. So I think all of us are, even though we don't necessarily write with music, music is in some way an element of what we do. And I know I'm like Lashell, I go both ways. I write sometimes selectively with music, but I also can kind of completely shut things off. So it just sort of depends on what I'm trying to do. And often it is the non-romantic scenes that I actually play music for, and silence for the rest of it. But yeah, it's a little different. So I know that all of us are heavily influenced by music. Maybe, Mary Chris, you want to start off talking about why kind of talking, even though you write in silence, why talking about music makes sense for your writing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I write in silence, but kind of like Alexis was saying, I definitely listen to music before I write, or I have songs that sort of inspire what I'm writing. So I don't listen while I'm writing. But I think one of the big ways that music is inspiring is songwriters have this really brilliant way of capturing emotion in a really short period of time. And so for me, it's like sometimes a really quick way to get into writing, like when I'm transitioning from my crazy day at work, or, you know, transitioning from eating dinner or whatever I was doing and needing to calm down and write. It can be a good way to transition into that. Like if there's a particular song or the soundtrack I've set up for a book, I can kind of use that to get into the mood that I need to get into, kind of set the tone or the theme. So it's definitely an important part, like kind of right up to when I start writing.
Okay. How about you, Lashell?
What was the question?
What role does music play in your actual writing? If it's not on while you're actually typing pages.
Well, I agree with a lot of what Mary Chris just said. Music is a great way to put yourself in a completely different mindset. You know, if you've had a bad day, you know, or if you've had a great day and you want to keep that feeling going, you know. But if there's like a particular scene that you're, you know, gearing up for or stressing out over or whatever, music's a good way to facilitate that.
Okay, and how about you, Tracie? What do you think?
Well, I mean, of course, I'm going to echo what the other two girls have said. Transition plays a huge part. But one of the biggest roles that music plays for me while I'm writing is, because I'm a pantser, you know, we've already talked about this, sometimes I don't really know where my story's going, and I will just hit a block, and I won't know what's going to happen next. And it's really easy for me to just put my headphones in, listen to anything or everything, just put that on shuffle, and usually there's going to be a song that hits. It's happened to me more than once. It happened to me while writing Breaking Walls. One line, somebody sings one line or says one word, and everything just, it's like, yes, that's it. That's where the story needs to go. And not only is it a great thing, music is great for transitions, but it's amazing because it just inspires so much. It's amazing. For me. I don't know if you guys have those same aha moments when you're listening to your music.
Well, I know, Alexis, you've mentioned being very influenced by lyrics, and you've been pulling lyrics all month, which has been fantastic, seeing kind of what really stands out for you. Is that something that you do if you get stuck? You'll kind of roll through and listen to a few songs?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. I think that one of the cool things about music is it really focuses on that moment, that special moment that, like, you fall in love, or that person means something to you, or something clicks, and they spend 3 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever it is talking about that moment, and we as writers are trying to illustrate that moment in a bigger way. And so I really like listening to a song where the lyrics really talk about that and really put myself in that moment over and over and over again until I get that whole scene written out.
Okay. How about playlists? I know that all of us have kind of been coming together and compiling some playlists, and I know that certain people, Mary Chris, have been so influenced by songs that they actually show up as character names. So maybe you want to talk about that a little bit, because I don't think I've actually named a character after a song yet, but maybe I'll take a page out of your book.
Yeah, I didn't do it intentionally, I'll be totally honest, but I love the name Kate. It's just one of my favorite names, and so I gave it to my main character in Never Ending Beginnings. And somewhere along the way, I mean, I also knew it was a Ben Folds song, but I didn't really think about that. But somewhere in the middle of writing, I guess the song came up in like a random playlist, and I was like, oh, hey, like that's my character. And then when I was working on my current work in progress, which really needs a title so I can stop calling it that, but anyway, my current work in progress, I have a character who is actually in a band, and so I was trying to think of a name for he and his wife, and I was like, oh, I can use Zach and Sarah from another Ben Folds song, although I did spell it a little bit differently. So now I've started this thing where I'm eventually going to run out, but he has a couple more songs and Line, and so we'll see.
Only right.
Yeah, I did something very similar with the Breaking series. I'm terrible at naming my characters. I'm not even kidding. My son's dad, he's a teacher, and I'll say, bring home the name of all your students. You know, I want lists, I want to see their names, because
that's actually a good idea.
Yeah, it's an amazing idea. Thank you. terrible at naming my characters, just like I'm terrible at naming my books. And anyone who really knows me well knows that I'm a huge Barry Manilow fan. So
I did not know this about you. Apparently there are hidden layers.
So when it came to my main character, I don't know what y'all are laughing about, but
I don't either.
No
I love
idea.
Barry Manilow.
No idea.
when it came to naming my main character for the Breaking series, I finally just decided to name her Mandy because it's one of my favorite Barry Manilow songs. There was no other reason there for it. Just one of my favorite songs, and it just fit and it seemed great. So I'm kind of where Mary Chris was on with that one.
Yeah.
Manilow's for life.
Pretty good influences. There you go. How about when it comes to picking those songs that are going to get you through that point? Do you sit down and craft playlists before you start Lashell, or are you kind of more organic about what you listen to?
It really happens very organically. I don't plan it at all. I just get to know the characters, and in getting to know them, their personalities, and that dictates the kind of music they would listen to. And it's really shocking me how diverse it is, because in the last series, obviously they were a bunch of rock stars, so I was listening to a lot of rock music. Before that, the series before that, my heroine, she was young and into a lot of female-driven pop, and there was a lot of Madonna and Britney and Christina and and now the series I'm writing now, there's a lot of classic R&B that I'm listening to right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Alexis, you I know do go back to the same songs over and over again. What is it about those songs that kind of draw you in when you're I don't know if you're crafting playlists beforehand or maybe addressing songs a little later as they come up?
Well, here's what I do. Almost every time there's actually, I guess I'm more musical than I give myself credit for, but there's almost always a song kind of going in the back of my head when I'm coming up with a story idea. I guess it exemplifies that moment that's kind of, hey, I should write a story about this. And one of the things I'll do is turn on Pandora with that song and let Pandora suggest other music to me. I found all kinds of artists. That's kind of how I fell into a lot of the artists on my playlist, actually, because they pop up in Pandora. He's obsessed musically and get all the songs going, and I'm on the house of Babel. It makes me this character, and he and songs list, and he's that's kind of how it happens.
Now, all of that broken you said online, so no worry, but that's not the way that it comes out of the broadcast. Maybe with internet connection. My favorite was to be here.
Okay, for me.
Okay. Everyone, or?
I didn't really hear it.
Yeah, everyone.
Waking up.
All right, can you speak?
I can hear something going on.
I'm very excited to hear me right now. I seem to be experiencing Google right now. It's really right now. Are you back?
One, if you can hear me, and two, if you can't, something sense.
Sadly, I've got almost nothing of you guys right now. I'm hoping that this is where people just absolutely awful, but
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Love you. Bye.
This is one massive pain in the butt today. Oh my gosh.
Oh wait, no, I think I can actually hear you. Wait.
Yay!
All right, we're back.
All right, well, happy April Fool's Day, everyone.
Yeah. Maybe we're tempting fate by attempting to do this on April 1st.
Hey, I'm just saying, I told you guys when you said let's do it on April 1st. I told you.
My favorite thing is she's scolding us, and I couldn't actually see her while she was scolding us.
Hey, just so we know, we are getting some comments on from our viewers, and Jessica says she also struggles with naming her characters, except for Harlow. Harlow was her first choice for a girl.
I love that name, Harlow.
Gorgeous name.
That is beautiful.
Yep, that is gorgeous.
I struggle so much with coming up with original names. I feel like I want to name every character Mary.
So, Alexis knows this already, but I write with a bracket around just the word name in place of characters' names.
Oh, I couldn't do that.
No.
No.
If I did that, I would leave one in there accidentally, and then the book would
Oh, I'm sure I do. I'm sure I've sent her plenty of things with name in brackets.
At least that's an easy find and replace.
It is.
Yeah, so much of who my character is though comes from that name. Like the name has to be perfect. Like with my Breaking series, now we're not even talking about music, we're talking about names, but with my Breaking series, like I struggled forever to find the right name for Gabe because he was just a certain kind of guy who had to have a certain kind of name, and when I finally hit it, I'm like, now I can write this character, but yeah, I have to have my names first. Can't bracket the word name in my manuscripts.
Tracie, I'm stealing that name. Is that okay?
What are you stealing?
The name Gabe.
I'm stealing the name.
What name?
Gabriel. Gabe.
Oh, yeah, that's hot. That's
All
okay.
right, wait, no, we're getting back on music. I am taking hosting duties over again.
Okay, sorry. I was just going to say, well, I stole all of your names, like your real names, for my Breaking.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome. It's crazy. Very, very surreal. So, all right, so we're getting back on track. Playlists. Let's talk about, do you guys build them before or after or during your books, and what goes on your playlist? What is kind of your what appears over and over again? Tracie, you want to start us off? Since we're stealing your names and you're stealing our names, everything's just going haywire.
Julia, can you please repeat yourself? Because I was texting my mama.
I can try. Yeah, I was saying, let's talk about building playlists and whether you do it beforehand, afterwards, if you're playing songs constantly, and what kind of appears over and over again. Do you have repeats?
I do have some repeats. I may not answer all of these because I don't remember everything you just said to me already. I do have some repeats, and they tend to be usually Enrique, who comes back every time. For some reason, it's always Enrique that I get coming back and coming back.
I can be your hero, baby.
That's actually not even one of them. That is my cell phone ringtone, but that's not even one that keeps coming back. It's never been one. Lord, what was I saying? Oh, it's one of those days.
It really is.
Okay.
Again, tempted fate. We all tempted fate.
We did.
Okay,
And we're going to win.
Yeah, so anyway, I don't build my playlists before I start writing. Usually I'm in the middle of writing, or I get one of those places where I'm stuck, and then I will start listening, like Lexi said, either to Pandora, or I'll just start listening to the music I have stored in my phone, and eventually things start popping up and things start clicking, and then it's the songs that I keep going back to that I tend to just save all on one list, and eventually each book kind of builds its own soundtrack.
Okay. How about you, Alexis?
What was the question?
Yeah.
Do you build playlists beforehand, and what appears over and over again?
Interestingly enough, the one time we built a full playlist beforehand, I never listened to it. I was looking at it this week, and I was like, I never listened to this thing. It's full of music that ultimately, once I started writing, it wasn't what I wanted to listen to. So I like to kind of, as I guess I'm going through the plot, going, ooh, I need a song that does this. Ooh, I need a song that does that. And sometimes they kind of naturally lead into each other. Was there a second part to that question?
Yeah, what appears over and over again on your playlist?
There are specific songs that appear over and over again on my playlist. I feel like Have You Met Ted?
Have you met Ted?
All right, I'll tell you what. We'll do that one all in a row. We'll do like a lightning round. We'll go through with the other part first. So Lashell, do you build before, or are you a as you go, compile the playlist type of person?
Definitely as I go. That's part of getting to know the characters, I guess. But as you go, definitely.
Mary Chris, what about you?
Yeah, I actually, when I was kind of researching for this chat, I think I've only ever made one complete playlist, and I made it for a really early draft of Neverending Beginnings, and then the book changed like so many times that I barely even recognized why I put songs on that playlist.
But I follow up to this one.
What was that? Oh,
I'll follow up if we remember. Stop talking.
I know what your follow-up is. I'll remind you. But when I went back through it, I think I built it as I went along, because some of the songs were like things that would probably take me back to a certain scene or get me into the certain scene, and then some were just like things that were featured in the book. Like I think in the original version there was like some scene where they were singing along to an Aerosmith song in a bar, and so like that song is on the playlist, but
Right.
that's never in the book anymore. So, but it was interesting to go back and revisit.
So I start with a core of about 4 or 5 songs, and then and then I build around that. And typically they are the same songs over and over again. I'm a big Al Green fan, and it's always I Can't Get Close to You, because it's basically the plot of every romance novel. At some point there's that moment, and so yeah, I start with a grouping, and then I throw a whole bunch of stuff on there, and I'm a big deleter actually. I edit and edit and edit and edit down. The football novella that I wrote started probably about 50 songs large, and then it got narrowed down further and further and further. And if I ever end up publishing it, when I put that playlist out, it'll probably be even narrower, because a lot of stuff I just kind of enjoy listening to, and it's not necessarily anything to do with the book. So you had a follow-up, Alexis.
Yes. One of my problems, as I mentioned earlier, I listen to the same song kind of over and over and over again when I'm writing a scene, if it's the right song. I have to be careful when I go back and revise to make sure I didn't actually write the lyrics into the scene.
That's why I have to write the
The power of suggestion, right?
Yeah, luckily I was listening to the playlist as I was doing my read-through, and I happened to be listening to that song as I got to the place where I basically wrote the song into the scene. I was like, whoops, I'm going to fix that now.
Ooh, I have some royalty problems with that.
Just a little bit. We do have some comments, if you guys...
Fabulous.
Yes. Jessica says that she makes her playlist during the writing process, and she listens to Pink, Just Give Me a Reason, which was on my Storm Inside soundtrack.
Nice.
It's a good song. Jessica also says Barry White is a good one, which I have to agree with.
I like that we're getting to consensus. We have Barry Manilow and Barry White. We've got a theme going here.
Very good.
Oh, Barry's good. Very good's good too.
Barry's good too. You never
And then
know.
Elizabeth, she says that she listens to The Neighborhood and Lana Del Rey, The Eagles, which are awesome.
Yeah, I have a lot of Lana Del Rey on one particular playlist, just over and over and over again. All right, so what are the greatest hits? Hit me. What are your songs you come back to over and over again? Whoever wants to take it first.
Mine.
Aerosmith.
Yep.
Aerosmith?
Dream On.
Okay, I like it.
Great song.
That is a good song.
Yeah. Mine is always, and it's always the same one. It's Why Not Me. It's Enrique. I told you, it comes back every time. But for some reason, it snuck up on me when I was writing my first series, and it snuck up on me about 100 times during the Just a Little series, and it came right back to me again during Breaking Walls. So it just, for some reason, every time. That's my repeat. That's my biggest hit.
I'm a 40-Day Dream Edward Sharp and the Magnetic Zeros person. I don't typically write with lyrics. I write with mood, and for some bizarre reason, that song is just like I just love that. I actually could not tell you what the lyrics say. I can sing all of them, but I couldn't tell you anything about the song except that it evokes some sort of mood that I really love. And also, Joss Stone's "Put Your Hands on Me" for some reason creeps into every single playlist along with Al Green. So there you go. Joss and Al can hang out with Edward Sharpe.
I don't think, because I've looked back and I only really have kind of that one playlist, I don't know that I really have a go-to song that always shows up. For my unnamed work in progress, it was, the song, it's on the radio right now, "Say Something," and it's "A Great Big World," and Christina Aguilera have it out on the radio. But actually, I was using a really old version of that song. I actually saw one of the guys using "A Great Big World" at a really, really tiny club, literally right across the street from my house, and had a CD that I bought from them before they were known at all. And that song really captures exactly what I was working on, like the whole theme of my work in progress. And so that was kind of that's been my theme song for the last few months. And then when it got popular and started being played on the radio, I was like, wow, like this is really cool. So, and nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Nope.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
She does. She has a car. She actually can listen to the radio. I've got nothing. I've got broken subway systems. It's terrible.
Julia, you were just talking about a mood, like a certain mood. Corinne Bailey Rae shows up on a lot of my playlist. Anything by her, because she evokes a certain mood.
Yeah,
I agree.
that was actually something I wanted to follow up on as well, because my list is full of a bunch of songs that not necessarily the lyrics that get me. It's the mood that gets me every time.
Well, what's interesting is you can leave something, you can go work on another project, and maybe you go back for revisions, and you play the music, and all of a sudden you're right back there with your character.
Yeah. Yep.
Puts you right back in that state of mind. It's awesome.
I just want to say that Elizabeth agrees with me, so, you know, obviously I'm doing something right.
And Jessica has heard of my song, so we're all good.
Oh, well, okay. So we talked a little bit about mood. When you guys, what are the moods that help you the most? I know I like the kind of dreamy, sort of breaking up but not breaking up type of songs that kind of help move along that part, because I have a really hard time with middles. I can usually get the intro, and once I finally decide on an ending, I can get there, but I have a really hard time with the in-betweens where there's a lot of strife and everybody's emotional and conflicted, and so that's kind of what I end up turning to more often than not. What about you guys?
I like transitional songs where they really talk about those moments that like make or break you, or maybe the love makes or breaks, which is part of the reason why my favorite song is Snow Patrol's The Lightning Strikes, because it's so what if, and it puts me in that state of mind every time I listen to it of what if I put these characters in this tragic position, what is going to happen to them? And so I like music that makes me either feel exactly what my characters are feeling, or makes me ask the question of what's about to happen to them.
So it's thought-provoking also, in addition to kind of helping you get through that.
Yeah. Was that a question?
I've basically given up on this hot mess of a broadcast. I've lost you guys. We couldn't get the thing going. As far as I'm concerned, so long as we're still on, this is just I have scotch. It's a beautiful night.
No, seriously, was that a question?
Yeah, sure.
I'm on my second whiskey. I'm sorry. I'm having some trouble.
Sorry. We're holding it down as the two lushes over here. Anyway, any of Tracie's viewers, the younger set, you don't pay any attention to us.
I actually took a bunch of painkillers before we started, so they might be thinking, not with Tracie.
No, she has prescriptions for them, guys.
Oh, yes! Oh, my God! Yes! Yes, they are prescription, and yes, I'm supposed to take them.
This conversation has taken a turn for the worse.
It really has. It really has. Happy April Fool's, everybody. Yes.
Okay, let's bring it back.
Somebody get us back on track. We're talking about moods. We're talking about moods and when you kind of, what moods you focus on. Go for it.
I'll jump in. one thing that I like to do is take my two main characters. What, Lexi?
No, keep going. She'll recover. Don't worry about it. Just go.
Something on my face, or okay.
No, you look lovely.
You're beautiful.
I know. Okay, so no, I didn't mean that. Okay, so I take my two lead characters, okay, and I like to have them like their own, kind of like their theme song. Not necessarily for themselves, but for the way they feel about that other person or the way they view that other person. So mine's not always necessarily a mood song for me, but my playlist starts to become songs that I know. For instance, right now I'm dealing with Mandy and Gabe, so things that I know Mandy would listen to because of the way she feels about him, or things that I could see Gabe totally, turning the radio up when he hears it in the car, because, hey, that strikes a thought about Mandy. So it's not necessarily always my mood that it hits. It's just sometimes I hear things and I'm like, Gabe would love that, goes on the playlist, or, hey, Mandy would listen to that, goes on the playlist. So that's kind of where mine comes.
I can totally relate to that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm done. So go ahead, Lashell. Elaborate on how you can relate to that.
Well, it's like I was saying earlier, it's all about the characters and what they would listen to. For me, it really is all about getting in their head. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, I totally relate to that.
So it's like putting a character sketch together and you're developing them kind of in a different way, right? Where you're building songs around them. That's really interesting.
Yeah.
How about you, Mary Chris? Are you drawn to songs for the same reasons, or?
Yeah, I do. I think so. I mean, I think, again, if you're using it to kind of get you back in the mood and get you back in the scene for what you're writing, I think it definitely makes a lot of sense to pick things. Although I don't know that I've ever really thought about it so much as what would my characters listen to, which is really kind of a cool way to think of it. I think it's more kind of what's going on in the actual novel itself, and like what kind of sort of captures the feeling of a certain scene. Or, as I mentioned, apparently sometimes it's just that I featured the song in the book, like I mentioned it, and so I decided I should put it on my playlist, which is probably just because I was actually listening to it, trying to figure out if it was the right fit for what I wanted to do and what I wanted to mention in that scene. So
sure.
It's kind of all over the place.
Is that something that all of you do in your writing, is mention songs like by name or by title, or you throw them in there at all?
No.
Or artists or anything?
I have.
Definitely do, yeah, I have.
I never have. I'm afraid my fans would be like, who's Barry Manilow?
Well, now they're going to know.
Well, they would look it up.
Look on Spotify.
Right.
And they might fall in love with Barry Manilow.
If they don't, something's wrong.
I have a book that that I have on the shelf right now that needs to have a lot of work done on it. It was a NaNoWriMo book, but the hero is a big blues guy, and he loves blues music, and so that was the first time that I was kind of incorporating songs in to the manuscript at all, and it's a lot of fun since I listen to a ton of blues, but I also have that book on the shelf, and I have no idea when it's going to see the light of day. I love it, but it really needs a complete overhaul, which is pretty terrifying. So at the moment, that's not the right time. But one day, maybe I'll be able to answer that question positively.
I think it's cool, like you talk about using blues, and like Lashell was talking about using like rock and roll in her book. I think anytime you can use something that's timeless, like I worry a lot. Sometimes I'll have song references where characters will reference like a song that they liked in college or something, but it's a song I liked in college, and I've totally like forgotten like to think about the age of my characters versus my age, and so then it just totally is throwing off like the time frame of everything. So sometimes when I'm editing, I have to go back and be like, wait, no, like they probably wouldn't have listened to that, or they should reference that it's like old to that, or something to make it not make the reader fall out of the story. So I love the idea of like blues and rock and roll and things that are sort of like timeless and people listen to forever. I reference Counting Crows a lot, and I'm not sure that like I listened to that a lot when I was in college, but my characters are now younger than me, so I'm not sure that quite works so well.
No, I know what you mean. I ended up having to look up I did have one song that I mentioned in a book, and I had to look up the Billboard Top 40 chart for that year. I think it was 1999, and I wanted to make sure I got it right, that it would have at least been on the radio in 1999, because God forbid it came out in like 2003 or something like that. So, exactly. Yeah, that definitely, believe it or not, if you are a contemporary writer, you do end up doing research.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One thing, since it's kind of still on topic because it is talking about music, but one thing that I think is really interesting, I don't know if you guys really get to do this as much or are concerned with this as much as I am. But one of the things when I'm writing, I'm thinking about, I have young readers. Some of them are my age or even a little bit older than me, but I do have, for the most part, younger readers. So I do stalk some of them on Instagram and Twitter. And they know, the most of them know who they are.
Readers, this is the real truth, that your author is actually doing research into you. How special is that? That's awesome.
I peek my head into high schools every now and then and take pictures. Anyway, I do stalk some of my readers. I've actually swapped phone numbers with a few of them who I've come to just like as friends. They're really great people. They're still in high school. They're teenagers, and it's fun to pick their brains and learn what kind of music they're listening to. I actually, when I first started writing and publishing, kind of went through this Justin Bieber phase.
Are you a believer?
I'm not.
I'm amassing a file on all of you.
No,
just
I really
so
not.
you know.
What'd you say? What did she just say?
I'm amassing a blackmail file on all of you.
It's all out there. Apparently, it's going to live in perpetuity on YouTube.
I did go through this Justin Bieber phase. So Justin's first album, I pretty much have memorized down to the very last word. Just because I listen to the things that I think my readers would listen to, which sometimes helps me come up with things that I wouldn't normally have come up with, and that's been fun. Right now, I can't believe I'm admitting this, but I'm kind of getting into One Direction. Somebody else go.
No, we're gonna let that one out.
Let it sit there.
Just letting that one out there. Is that the one with? Are they the English ones with the hair?
With the hair, yeah.
You're beautiful or something like that. I don't know.
They're babies. Oh my goodness.
They are babies.
That's funny.
Okay, somebody else go because I just humiliated myself.
Like I said, I love all the old blues guys, so half of my playlist is dead, unfortunately.
Mine's all stuck in the 90s, so
I'm guessing
they're all the Counting Crows.
that's something you guys have to do then is, what would my readers listen to?
Yeah. I think it shows dedication as an author that you're listening to what your readers would listen to.
Yeah,
but I think it's awesome, honestly.
The crappy part is liking most of it.
You're liking most of it. That's not a problem, right?
Not at all. I'm done with the whole that's my guilty pleasure song. If you like it, you like it. It doesn't have to be a guilty pleasure. You can
it's sort of like how people approach the genres that we write, and it's kind of no,
that's
it's not
very true.
It's something I really enjoy, and so
Absolutely.
I love Britney, so deal.
Yes!
I love Britney.
I do too.
Yeah.
Love her. I still love NSYNC. If I had posters, I'd.
Oh my gosh, New Kids on the Block.
I don't even know.
Don't know.
All right, youngin.
And that's what I mean about my music references.
We'll just call Tracie if we need to write somebody who doesn't know who New Kids is.
The good thing is I never grew up, so I still throw my little tantrums and I stamp my feet when I get mad about it. It makes it very easy to write my character, so you just throw in the music and I've got it.
There you go. Done. Add water, cupcake.
I have muffins.
Okay, so this is totally off the rails. Does anybody want to say anything else about music?
Music rocks.
Absolutely. I think we can all agree. All right, we're going to do a quick round of promos, and then we'll say goodbye, and this epic April 1st episode will be over. It will go down in history.
Yeah, this was weird and awful and great at the same time.
Absolutely. Kind of like all of us. Okay. I'm just going to go in the order that everybody is on the little bar at the bottom of my screen. So, Alexis Anne, you want to promo something? What have you got?
Oh, I'm having a day. I am Alexis Anne. I have a website. It's alexisannebooks.com. We have the First Kiss blog hop next week. It's free fiction on everybody's page, so make sure they're squealing and it's excitement and it's going to be awesome and yeah.
And we get a nerdy boy, right?
What was that?
We're getting a nerdy boy, right?
I asked for a nerdy boy.
I want a nerdy boy.
He appears that way, but is he that way?
Are you kidding me? You made me
I don't know.
1,500 words, you're going to find out if he is or is not actually nerdy.
But beyond that,
serious game.
Beyond that, I do have my 2 books, The Storm Inside and Reflect in the Rain, out now. And if you check out my blog every Friday, I have flash fiction and chapters from my new book that's coming out soon.
Yay! All right, Lashell, hit us. What do you got?
Nothing.
No,
I got
a dozen books out, but whatever.
No, I've got the first 4 novellas of my Kelly Family series. That's releasing on April 30th. Cover reveal coming soon.
Ooh.
And that's it.
Okay. Mary Chris, what have you got for us?
All right. Well, I have Never-Ending Beginnings. My first novel and Delayed, my novella, are out now. The yet unnamed novel that will hopefully be forthcoming in the next couple months.
Awesome!
Actually, related to that, I do have a website. It's listed on my little bar, which maybe is still showing up. Who knows what's going on?
It's not listed on your little bar.
It's not on my bar. Okay, so just
Mine's
my name.
not on my bar either, I don't think.
All right, so happy April Fools, everyone. So my website is actually just my name, which is listed on my bar. It's marychrisescobar.com. I am going to be looking for or doing a first readers program on my new book. And if you sign up for my mailing list, I will send you some information about that. So that's going to be the only way to find out about it, but it will be a chance to actually read my novel that's coming out for free and give me some feedback. So please come on over to my website and sign up for my mailing list, which is under free fiction, if you click on free fiction on the little bar on my website. So I would love, if you've been watching and want to read that unnamed novel, maybe you can help me name it.
Ooh, I feel a contest coming on.
That was, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was my long closing statement there. But yes, come to my website, sign up for my mailing list. You'll get my blog in your inbox every week, as well as you'll be the first to know about getting to read my newest book very soon.
You guys definitely want to do that because she writes really, really wonderful books, really beautiful fiction.
It's really good. It's really, really, really good. I just finished it this weekend.
In my line,
I'm still jealous about that.
It's going to be fantastic. All right, Tracie, what have you got for us? Everything? Nothing? You have lots of things.
I don't have anything new. I have my Lexi, loving it. I have. I mean, go to my website. I have like 15 or some odd books. Paperbacks are now available for everything except for the Webster Grove series, and I just sent Breaking Walls off for developmental editing with my editor yesterday. Yes, yesterday. So
yay!
That's coming soon. And
yeah,
really
so hopefully next time we do this, we'll have more information on that. So that would be great.
Next time I'll have tons of information for you on that because release date will be right around the corner next time I talk to everybody. So, cool. But that's really it.
I'm Julia Kelly. I'm also participating in the Flash Fiction First Kiss blog hop, which is going to be pretty fantastic. I think it's something like 15 authors. It's some sort of.
I feel like it's more than that.
It may be more than that. We're kind of 3 a day for 7 days, so it may actually be 21 authors. You want to read all of them because it's really interesting, the number of different people and different types of fiction, and I think it's just going to be really great. Who doesn't love a first kiss? So that's what.
It sounds fun.
It's going to be really fun. So that's what I'm doing right now. I've been posting a lot on the blog, which I've been really, really bad about, and I'm working very, very hard right now on a couple of different things. So if you want to find out more about that, all of us, I think, maybe just did a writing process blog hop, and all of us talked about what we've been working on, and also how we work, which is a little bit of an extension off of our last video, which was all about plotting versus pantsing. So if you managed to make it through the end of this hot mess of a video, which I'm going to try to edit,
probably the only 5 left.
No, we have 6 viewers.
Yeah, no, I am so impressed, guys, and thank you so much for putting up with us. We were a half hour late because Google hates us, and it's April Fool's Day, and then we managed to lose part of the broadcast in the middle of it. But you know what? I work in TV, and they tell you so long as you stay on air, you're good to go. Nothing else. Can't touch this. So, anyway, we're all saying we're gonna wrap this up, and I'm probably gonna drink some more whiskey, and we'll commiserate about how this all went. But we're gonna do that offline. So, thank you all so much for joining us and putting up with us as we had major struggles today. So next time we will be posting about what our next topic is going to be, of course, and also letting you guys know when you can find new projects from us and wrapping all that up. So thank you, goodbye, and we will see you in the month of May very, very soon. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, guys.